Hello and welcome back to the Cheltenham Exchange preview for the 2023 Cheltenham Festival. From the Cheltenham Exchange team, I'm joined by John the Hammer and Rain Man, Boss Man, Con Man, Mr. Ian Rayner.
Pend all over.
Thanks, guys. And I've written down that we've got two fantastic guests here, but we've got one fantastic guest, and we've also got John Travolta.
Jungle movie.
So yeah, we've got two guests to join us. The first man joining us is a man that OJ describes as having the voice of Ireland. He's a man who actually, in my opinion, should be doing impressions for a living. Frequenter of the Cheltenham channel, it's Mr. Jaime Wrenn. And we also have the bad boy of bowls, Sizing Rudd, aka John Travolta. Thanks for joining us tonight, guys.
Thanks for having us, boys.
Right, we'll get stuck in then to the first race on Friday then, which is, of course, the Triumph Hurdle. One of the top horses in the market, Johnny, is one of the horses you've been really keen on for most of the season, Lossiemouth. How do you think this race is going to go?
I'm worried about this race, I will admit. I'm going to stick with Lossiemouth, but I'm really, really worried about Blood Destiny, who I do have covered. But I think he's really going to put it up to her. She does obviously get the £7. Last day wasn't the best ride, was it, by Mr. Townend, where he got caught in the pocket, shuffled back, and then used a lot of juice getting closer to Gala Marceau, and just couldn't get there in the end. So I think she's better than that last run, to be honest. But Blood Destiny has looked really good in his runs so far this season. Although he does look like a horse who probably needs a little bit further, to be honest, in time. And I reckon next season you'll probably see him being the one who's been stepped up in trip. So, yeah, hopefully Paul's learnt his lesson this time. You need to keep good horses out of trouble, keep them up in the box seat, and then you can just push the button and off you go. So she's still got every chance of winning. So Lossiemouth for me, straightforward.
Excellent. Scotty, who do you fancy?
Yeah, I've flip-flopped on two races in recent weeks, the Arkle being one, and this is the other. I'm a massive Lossiemouth fan, but I'm worried about Blood Destiny. I've got both covered, but I just think the course will suit Blood Destiny more. I think he's more of a traveller. He's more of a galloper, and I think he'll keep up that gallop, and he could dent Lossiemouth's speed, so to speak, when push comes to shove on the turning. I think the race will suit Comfort Zone. I think the way Blood Destiny will go off, I think he's a pretty solid jumper. It could set up for a strong finisher like Comfort Zone, who's got a good run under his belt, that win in the Triumph Hurdle Trial where he beat Scriptwriter. I think his win there is worth more than the bare form. Obviously, Scriptwriter was disappointing at Kempton, but I'd respect Gala Marceau as well. I think her run in the DRF, I think she didn't get as much credit as she deserved. I think everyone was focusing more on Lossiemouth's ride that Paul Townend gave her that day. I do think, like Johnny said, I think Blood Destiny in time will need further. And I think if he keeps up what he's done so far, he will win. I can see Lossiemouth getting outstayed for third place or second place. I think she's even, I think, vulnerable now for a place. I think Gala Marceau and Comfort Zone could come ahead of her. Part of me wants her to be a superstar, but for me, I think Blood Destiny will win. And I think Comfort Zone will come second.
Brilliant. Thank you. Jamie, who wins this?
I was the same all year. I thought at the start of the season was Lossiemouth for me, Alex. But I don't know. At the time compared to Marine Nationale, compared to the Royal Bond, was way behind Marine Nationale, and the amount of weight she only carried 10 stone 3 that day. We haven't seen Zarek the Brave since, but Comfort Zone and Common Practice were in that race. Comfort Zone to me has improved. I like Comfort Zone last day, the way it's improved since winning at Chepstow. Even though I know Scriptwriter, as Scotty said, left the form down at the Adonis, but I like the way Comfort Zone came and then went again past Scriptwriter uptail. So obviously he's a stair in the making, Comfort Zone. Looking at it, and Nusret has come on and obviously won the Adonis, and of course Common Practice is a sneaky fancy for everyone in the Boodles. I think Blood Destiny is just at this present moment of time is just probably a better horse than all the rest of them, than Lossiemouth. If it's at the moment, I've covered both obviously, but to me, I think Blood Destiny is just probably further on than Lassie Mouth, and I think he'll win, and I think Comfort Zone will be second, and then Lassie Mouth and Garda Marceau to fight out for third. I don't know what Garda Marceau. I don't think she'll get up the hill. I think it'd be too much of a stamina test for her. I know Paul Town had obviously made a balls of Lassie Mouth the last day, but for me, it'll be Blood Destiny to win and Comfort Zone each way.
Excellent. That would be Matty's fancy as well. He also likes Blood Destiny, so there's a little bonus Matty selection in there for you. Ian, how do you see this one going?
I agree with what Jamie was saying about Comfort Zone. It's Comfort Zone's one I've put up in our Ante-Post, and I can definitely see him with the places. I say Comfort Zone with some of the previous videos we've talked about with Takao, all the form all seems to interlink. So I will give Lossie Mouth as my pick for the race. So I think she beat, you said about Zarek the Brave, Comfort Zone and Common Practice at Ferry House in December. And then beat Garland Marceau and Nusret at Leopardstown on Boxing Day. So obviously Nusret's come out and won since over here. I watched the DRF race again, and you can see my pronunciation. Is it Jord Fiette? I think was the other Richie horse, and you could see she was badly hampered and basically cost her the race. I know she was only beaten 2 lengths by Garland Marceau there, but I still think she'll have enough to turn it round. But definitely with Comfort Zone's win at Cheltenham this year, beating Scriptwriter, he definitely has a chance with the places. So I'll go with Lossie Mouth, Comfort Zone each way.
Thank you, Ian. And I'm going to side with Lossie Mouth as well. I also agree about the fact that she was very badly hampered, wasn't she, in her last race? And to be honest, I think I'd back her even if it was off level weights with Blood Destiny. And I think the fact that she gets £7 from him, I think it's going to take a hell of a performance to beat her, giving £7. So, yeah, I'm going to be getting stuck into Lossie Mouth. Perfect. That rounds up the first race on Friday. We will now move on to the county hurdle. Scotty, who do you fancy for the county?
I have fancied for a long time Pembroke. A long time.
I feel like there's a butt coming.
Such an obvious non-stayer the last day. Draw back in trip. Fast run county hurdle. 2016 Superb Story. 2018 Mahayed. 2019 Chitabello. Mr. Skelton has the keys to this race. But Hunter's Yarn, who I did think had a squeak and Supreme, is going to turn up in this, I believe, today. He's been backed. The exchanges are saying he's going here. Simon Munir and Isaac Swade have put their race plans together. And I don't think he's like a state man or something as good as that for Mullins, but I do think the race is pretty poor this year. There's quite a lot of exposed horses in here. If he turned up, he'd be the one that would worry me. But there is a sneaky one, which I've backed at 130 to 1. And it was actually credit to John. And he put me onto this one. And I went, my God. Now 4th, being promoted to place in last year's champion hurdle because Ante was disqualified. Won the Betfair hurdle, I think, off of 143. And he's only 144 now. And that's Glory and Fortune. I think this horse has got a right chance if he turns up. If he's been crap this year, he was been chasing. He's not been that good. He's come back. He was in the Betfair hurdle at Newbury, absolute no show. But if he turns up in that form that he ran in that champion hurdle last year, he has a chance. I think he's the one at a massive price. But like I said, I think Pembroke would be my main fancy in the race. I couldn't have Charger. I've seen the angle on Charger. I think he's definitely not gone at the game like a lot of people think he is, but he's definitely got a big race in him. If he was mine, I'd be putting him away and waiting for some good ground at Galway. Give him another tip with the Galway hurdle. That kind of race I'd be looking at off a big weight. I'd like to see him running the stairs hurdle, Charger. I still think he's got a big race in him. But as far as this race goes, I wouldn't be backing him for that off 155. I'd be definitely looking at Pembroke. But massive respect to Hunter's Yarn and Glory and Fortune for the millions at a big price. That'd be my 3.
Perfect. Jamie, what do you think?
I suppose all year, Alex, the one horse they fancied for it really after the Great Wood and the form was stacking up, obviously, but I like to move it as Chin Coco. Obviously, it was definitely not seen the best light with the hurdles taken out. But if we look back, and I look back at it, I've watched it a couple of times. The extra furlong in the county would bury me up the hill. It could be a bit of a flat track horse. I'm the same as Scotty. Like once I heard confirmed that Hunter's Yarn now was in the county hurdle, 147 could be kind of a, like I call it, a half grade 1, half grade 2 horse on handicap. Looks a good bet to me at the moment. It's been well backed, and I suppose the other one is that I've latched onto and I've backed at a nice price is obviously Pembroke. The way that travelled last time behind Rock My Way, the ground should be okay, because it's probably going to be on the soft side now, obviously with all the rain forecast. They'd be my 2 against the field, and I suppose I will definitely back a horse here if comes here, and I keep repeating myself. Nycar Allen wasn't seen the best light in the quick ground the last day in the Betfair hurdle. 3rd in a race behind Merlin Giant at the Royal Bond meeting at Ferryhouse. First one of the season, wouldn't take any notice that after coming off the juvenile season. I think he's been laid out for a handicap anyway. The one horse I couldn't have here is Filey Bay. I think his chance was gone since the Betfair hurdle. That was his chance to win a big handicap. He's gone up too much in the weights, in my opinion now. I might be totally wrong, but if you put 3 against the field at the moment, they're obvious. Hunter's Yarn, Pembroke, Nycar Allen, but for my pocket and my selection would be Pembroke.
Ian, break this one down for me.
I know Scotty was saying about Sharjah, but this just screams Arctic Fire again from 2017 to me. Graded horse in the county hurdle. If you want to call it form, obviously he's bumped into State Man twice, been beaten twice, and was beaten half a length by Fieldor. Kevin 12 stone, I think that day. I think he's come down. I think he was 158 down to 155. He will be top weight on the day, but I don't know. Just screams Arctic Fire to me. So I've had a punt on Sharjah. The other one I was potentially looking at, I believe he's going here, but I wanted to run in the Grand Annual, was Alcan Risk. Trying to think what his mark is. 147 carrying 11.4 could be a potential each way, but other than that, it's one I'll probably still need to study a bit more. But I will go with Sharjah.
Excellent. I quite like 2 in this, and they both may not run, so I'll qualify that. First, Colonel Mustard. Colonel Mustard, who I've been really hoping he was going to stay over fences, and I thought he was going to be, to me, a certainty in the Grand Annual if they got a 3rd run into him. I mean, he's off a mark of 136 at the moment over fences. Current mark over hurdles 145. I mean, to be honest, I think that's a gift. He ran really well in the Moor Battle hurdle at the weekend, finishing 2nd. He's only £3 higher than when he ran in this race last year, when he finished 3rd behind State Man and First Street, and both of those are way higher in the ratings than him now. So I think he's still got some juice in that mark. And then the second one is one that, to be honest, even less likely to get in than him. It's number 50 in the list. If she runs in this race, I will back her if she gets in. It's the Model Kingdom. She's got some good form behind some really good horses this year. She's not quite won, but she's been really consistent, so not been out of the top 3. Most recently, she actually finished 2nd behind Thompson, Impair Pats, and she's only sort of 6 lengths behind. For a rating of 131, I think she's got a hell of a chance. But I mean, once again, she might not get in. Johnny, who do you fancy?
Yeah, I've got 2 down in this as well. I agree with Ian on Sharjah. He's been kept on 155. The British handicapper didn't put him up anymore. I think he could be Arctic Fire all over again, and I've already gone in on him. But for the purpose of this, I'd go each way on Path to Rue for Gavin Cromwell. I think he's 32 in the list at the minute, so he needs 6 to come out, which should come out because there's a lot of double entries here with the Coral and the Pipe, so I think he should get in. If you look at who he's raced against this season, he was 26 lengths behind Facile Vega. He pulled up when he raced against Marine Nationale. So obviously his mark's been kept down with those 2 performances. He won last time out, which showed he can win a race. In fact, he won as well at Galway and Navan, so he's won 2 races this season in far lesser races. I just think on that mark at the moment, he's got a really good each way chance, and he's got a lot more to come. And Cromwell's pretty, he's good at these sort of races, isn't he? He can set one up for it. So yeah, I think he's got a really good chance. Brilliant.
Thanks, Johnny. And Matty's also joining the Pembroke fan club. That's one that he's put up as well. So that's another shout for Pembroke there. Right, we'll move on then to the Albert Bartlett hurdle, Novices hurdle. Jamie, who do you fancy for this one?
Oh God, do you want all day? Let's put it right above. This is a really good race, Alex. It is now, in fairness. It's probably it probably is the best out of the 3 novice hurdles. I'm hearing all these vibes that Corbett's Cross is not coming here, but why would JP McManus buy him if he wasn't coming here? But look, normally if you run that grade 2 at Naas that he beat Fond of 50, that you usually don't come to Cheltenham. If he comes, Alex, he'll win. I like horses that I like horses that have 2 mile speed, and the way he showed there, it's like the nice guy all over again. Won a 2 mile maiden hurdle at the same meeting last year on goodish ground, and then went on to the Albert Bartlett. Now the other thing is that the Albert Bartlett ruined every horse that ran in it last year, so they might be saving him next year for a Novice Chase campaign. The only other one I like now with the ground, the way it's going to be, hopefully I'm going solidly on what the weather is going to say. And it definitely has to be 3-card Bragg, because the fact of the matter is he won his 2 mile maiden hurdle in Galway in soft to heavy, beating Sandra Cleggan. That's 2 mile pace to me. Third behind In the Pocket. Second, third in the pocket. Third behind Imagine in Herca de Soy. Second, won the last day against Spanish Harlem. The only other thing is that I suppose you'd have to bring with the ground with Hidden Valley Lake. You'll have to come into it. I don't fancy that Monty Star, for the fact of the matter is that he was getting £6 off Hidden Valley Lake. The only my quibble with Hidden Valley Lake is that he's a bit, I don't know, he's all over the place at Clonmel. I don't like that. He looks awkward to me. You're going to love this. A shout out behind who beat Monty Star at Navan, and it's the Shanbelly kid.
Hey, come on, kid.
We're on there at fancy prices. Look, has to have a chance. The one horse I can have here, and I see a lot of people tipping it, and he needs 5 miles, in my opinion, and I don't think his form is any good, and that's Favre de Champtou. To me, he's an absolute
Johnny Raging.
Constant. He's a constant lay for me. He's beaten nothing. I'm like, let's be clear about if Graham Conwell is not going to win this race, is he? So I couldn't have him. The one Sandra Cleggan, I backed that day at DRF. I was disappointed. Met Paul Nolan after the race. He'll be better on the next day. I said, you want to be a bit better the next day? You want to be 20 pounds better? I said, but no, at the moment, the way the weather is, if Corbett's Cross wins, he's an absolute good thing for me. And then backed up by 3-card Bragg.
Excellent.
And a small snaky on Shanbelly.
Interesting that you mentioned 3-card Bragg. We actually had a chat with the racing manager for the McNeil family. That video is on our channel as well if you want to have a watch. They talk through all their runners at the festival, as well as gave us a few ones for next year. And they were very keen on 3-card Bragg. They said it was probably their best chance of the week. So, they're very confident. Apparently, Max McNeil spoke to Ruby Walsh, and Ruby told him that he should run in the pipe because he'd win that. So clearly, Ruby Walsh quite likes the horse as well. So just another thing for him. As you mentioned, my selection for the race is Shanbelly Kid. I'm on at some nice prices. Put him up Ante-Post as well on one of our videos at 40-1. I think he's around sort of 12s, 14s at the moment, which I think is fair. Last time out, he beat Monty's Star. I never remember if it's Monty's Star or Monty's Pass.
Monty's Pass.
Whichever one it was, he beat that horse, and he's obviously gone on and beaten Hidden Valley Lake. Admittedly, it was giving away weight, but just the way he stayed on the end of that race, I think he'll appreciate every single yard of this Albert Bartlett trip, and I think there'll be a few of them sort of crying at the finish, and I think he'll be doing his best work then. So that'd be my selection. Ian, who do you fancy?
You've just said exactly what I was just about to say. So I put Hidden Valley Lake up as one of my Ante-Post picks, and obviously in the form all ties in with Shambelly Lake, as you said, with Shambelly Lake beating Monty's Pass, and then Monty's Pass then coming out and beating Hidden Valley Lake. It was obviously giving Hidden Valley Lake was giving Monty's Pass £6, only beating half a length. So I think Hidden Valley Lake would turn that form around. Shambelly Lake, I think, is a cracking each way price. About
Shambelly Kid.
Shambelly
Lake.
Shambelly Kid
Lake,
and the Grand National over there who passed away there.
Yeah, it's a Shambelly Kid, I should say. Yeah, it's definitely an each way play. But yeah, so there'll be my two. Hidden Valley Kid.
Hidden Valley Kid, Shambelly Lake. Who do you fancy, Johnny?
Yeah, I think it's probably one of the hardest races to choose this, and also, it's going to be one of the best races as well, like Jamie adhered to before. And I quite like the couple he put up, to be perfectly honest, but I'm going to try and be different. I do like the three Gigginstown horses in Cool Survivor, Shambelly Kid, and Favre de Champdou. Cool Survivor might go to the pipe, so that could probably rule him out. We'll find a bit more tomorrow, unless he's left in. Shambelly Kid on at bigger odds, so that's like a bit of a bet to nothing now. We're at 100 to 1. We're quite happy there. But I'm going to nail my colours to Favre de Champdou. I know his form isn't that strong, but he knows how to win a race again. He did beat Let's Be Clear About It, but I actually quite liked him for last year's race. So, maybe he isn't as bad as you think. It promises to be a good race, and Corbett's Cross is like rightful favourite. I'll probably have a dabble on him on the day as well, just to cover him. But I'm going to go. I've put him up as a Ante-Post pick, so I'm going to have to stick with him all night. I can't do an Ian and go away from him now, can I?
Thanks, Johnny. And Matty fancies 3-card brag as well, so that's another one on your ticking your box, Jamie. You're all getting stuck into 3-card brag. Scotty, who do you like?
No, well, I fancy 2, and no one's mentioned either of them yet, which is good.
Oh,
I remember someone saying to me, I think it was on the DRF preview, I'm not particularly impressed with Embassy Gardens. Alex.
I knew he was going to say it.
Yeah, I had to bring it up.
So it was a pig, did he?
I think this horse is seriously underestimated. He's taken a while to get going this year. He's followed that stupid race Monkfish won at Turles. He won it by 30-odd lengths, and that was the first time he's ran on good ground. And if he gets his ground on the Friday, I think he's a future chaser. I think he's a future Gold Cup horse. I think he could be that good. I would definitely think there's a big race in him, a big run in him, sorry. So I wouldn't underestimate him. He'd be probably high on my list. I'd also respect Hidden Valley Lake. I think it was a joke of a race last time. They went so slow. Rachel made her own running. It didn't suit the horse at all. He will definitely finish ahead of Monty's Star. Monty's Star, yeah. It's not Monty's Pass. Monty's Star. He'll definitely reverse that form.
Yeah.
And then you've got like Favre de Champdou, all these pronunciations, all these fancy French names. You've got Sandor Clegane, who I respect. He's going to be a good chaser for next year.
Don't you live in France?
Back in for the National Hunt Chase. If you've got a spare £5, stick that on him if you can get a price. I think he'll win that next year. But the horse I'm really, really interested in that no one seems to be talking about, if you fancy Corbett's Cross for this race, you have to give Seabank Bistro a chance. He gave him weight at Christmas, and he was only beaten by, I think, he wasn't beaten that far.
3 lengths.
By him, yeah, 3 lengths. He's fourth in the bumper last year. He's improving with every single run. He was beating odds on, then he won his maiden. He's definitely got a chance, Seabank Bistro. And how many times have we seen the Mullen second, third, fourth string horse win this race? The likes of Penhill, the nice guy last year. Yeah, lots to like. I think Seabank Bistro at 25 to 1. I think you can still get. I think he's massively overpriced. So I'd be looking. My tip for this race, my advice would be: don't back the horse who you think will be the best horse in the future for this race. The likes of Sandor Clegane. Wait for them to win their chases. I made the mistake of backing Statler for this a few years ago, and I thought, he's going to be brilliant. Turned out to be a good chaser. Didn't quite make it as a herder in the Albert Bartlett. Look for something down the field, double figure price. Seabank Bistro is my main fancy, and don't give up on Embassy Gardens. I give him a sniff as well.
I just want to qualify when I did speak about Embassy Gardens, I just said that his form was dog shit.
You were right. You're totally right. But how many times do you see horses that win races by miles and everyone says they've beat nothing, they haven't got a chance, and they go out and piss up again next time? It happens.
In second was a horse that's rated 109, which had a £5 claimer on it as well. Next time out, that horse finished 6th, beating 40-something lengths. So
I totally respect that.
Yeah,
Gaelic
I
Warrior's
think
been
the
doing the
form
same
is
kind of thing this year, and he's 5 to 1 for the
dreadful.
Ballymore. Makes no sense.
Scotty fuming.
Nice guys. Have a little poke back.
It's a game of opinions, boys. That's what we love it.
He can't
That's
jump.
it.
Perfect.
You kidding me
So,
now? You kidding me? You can't jump.
have I been around the full circle?
Yeah.
Yeah, well
Sorry,
done.
Perfect. Sorry.
This one will be quick.
Let's move on then to the Gold Cup, the feature race on the Friday, with one of my favourite horses, Galopin des Champs. Ian, does he win?
I believe he does, yes.
Excellent.
Very impressive in the John Durkin in December. I know he only beat Fakir by 13 lengths, but I thought it was a great first run. And then obviously won the Irish Gold Cup at the DRF, beating Statler and Fury Road, who I think potentially could have a good run in the Ryanair. As for some of the others, I did put Ante-Post. I did put Aplutard up in our Ante-Post, but I think if you want to call it half a run that it had at Haydock, going into a Gold Cup, sadly, I think his chance has gone, sadly, but you never know. I think even though I'll say Noble Yates, even though Roy Senior beat Noble Yates at Cheltenham, I think the extra couple of furlongs, 2-3 furlongs, I think might suit Noble Yates. So I think he could be potentially one of the each-way plays for the race. Statler as well, I'll probably give a shout out. I know he's beaten 8 lengths by Gallopin, but I think he's proved he won the National Hunt Chase. He would definitely stay the trip. There will probably be the 3 potentially I would look at, but I can't see much past Alex Deschamps.
Perfect. That's music to my ears.
Yeah.
Just wanted to just put up Matty's now. Matty said that Manila Indo is the banker of the festival. He was on at 50 to 1, so he's massive on Manila Indo.
Banker.
Not sure if I agree, but that's one that he's very keen on. Johnny, who do you fancy?
Yeah, pretty straightforward for me as well. Galloping for the win purpose in this race. He was never any better in the race. As the last furlong, last time out, he looked strong in the finish. He ran through the line, hard to pull up again. So I don't see any issue with him staying. He seems a lot sort of easier to handle this year. He's not as exuberant as last year at his fences. He's just, like I say in one of the videos, he reminded me of the way Alboon Photo used to jump this year. He just sort of pops over him, and he might make the odd mistake, but he's he looks very, very safe, and obviously he's got the engine to boot. For each way purposes, obviously I'm going to have to pick my old friend, Ahoy Senor. Followed him all season. I think he's got a great chance of a place. Probably can't see him winning, but I think this trip will just be right up his street. As long as he doesn't clout too many fences, which obviously he can do. I just think he'll run a storming race. I really do. He obviously likes a track, as we've seen before. Of the others, Statler, yeah, he'll run a good race, but I just can't see him overturning the form with Gallopin. A fully fit Aplutard will obviously have a chance, but just the last race, just put the Betfair Chase, just totally put me off that performance. He could come back and run a good race, but I just won't be putting any money on him at this stage. So yeah, Gallopin des Champs for the win and Ahoy Senor for the places.
Perfect. Thank you, Johnny. John Travolta, who do you fancy?
I think for me, I won't back Gallopin des Champs regardless, just because I think he's too short. I think he is the most likely winner. But if it starts pissing down and we get like a soft to heavy day, I will definitely place him. Just on the fact that I'm not still convinced he will stay in the Gold Cup course and distance. I just like Conflated. I've liked him for a while. I think he's the most solid horse each way. 14 to 1, I think you can still get. It's just a ridiculous price for a horse that's won. I call it the Lexus Chase, whatever it's called now. you've got to look at horses that are running the Ryanair in previous years. You've got the likes of Q-Card who won a Ryanair. He would have probably gone close to winning that Gold Cup. He fell in. Don Cossack was third in a Ryanair, went to win the Gold Cup. Apletard was third in a Ryanair. He's won a Gold Cup. Imperial Commander won a Ryanair, won a Gold Cup. Conflated would have been second in the Ryanair last year behind Allaho. He's definitely gonna stay the trip. He's definitely the play each way against the favourite, if that's the way you want to look at it. And I've tipped this horse up as a real random out of the box selection and to maybe nick a place on a good run. And that sounds Russian. It's a bit of a weird one, but I think he's run behind the Hoist Senior the last day, was pretty solid. And I still think Into Overdrive is going to hack up in the Ultima, and he ran a good race against him earlier in the season. I think it was in the Roland Merrick at Wetherby. I think it's a pretty good piece of English staying chase form this year, and I'd give him a little sniff. But like I said, Galopin Des Champs, good luck if he hacks up. I hope he wins for all the favourite backers. He's a superstar. He's the second best horse in training at the moment. So yeah, I hope he does it. But I will be with Conflated each way.
Thank you, Scotty. Jamie, you're in the camp, aren't you?
I think Galopin Des Champs will win. Would be seriously small bit worried, Alex, all right, about if it keeps raining, about him staying. Now, I suppose he's farming soft ground in France, but it's different. 3 miles, 2 and a bit in Cheltenham, staying for the first time over the trip. It would really give me a slight worry about him staying. Scotty's after stealing my thunder there. Exactly. I go down the same form line of backlash from Ryanair's and going on to win Gold Cups, and I think I'm a bit of a romantic myself. I'd love to see Davy Russell Bow win a Gold Cup. He deserves it. What a great jockey he's been, and this could be written in the stars. They're Conflated. I think he should have been in the Gold Cup last year. He had the right chance in it. For the rest, I can't have High Senior, lads. I'm sorry. No, it'll be the day I say High Senior has no chance, and he'll jump like a stag and he'll bolt up. Brave Man's Game won't stay in the ground. Noble Yates, he'll be, to me, like if they're go too fast they at soft ground, he might squeak in and could win it. You'd never know. No, but they're not for me. They're honestly, I think they're just below grade 1 class in a compared to Galopin Des Champs. A Plutarch, no, you couldn't have a Plutarch at half a run in Haydock. Do you know what I mean? You just couldn't. And if they go fast, I always say about Plutarch, the faster they go, no chance. The slower they go, the speed it has in the end will tell, obviously. But you just don't know how good or bad that horse at the moment is. But at the moment, it will be definitely all year Galopin to win, and a huge bet each way on Conflated. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you, Jamie. I'm all over Galopin. It's funny, really, that after last season, everybody was crabbing Galopin, saying he wasn't going to stay the trip. He was too exuberant in his races and does too much out in front. And now they've taught him to settle. And now the same people are now saying that he's a bit boring and he looks like he's not enjoying his racing. I just don't really understand it.
The same people forget about Alex that he won a 3 mile novice hurdle in Punchestown, and I don't get it. Do you know what I mean?
It makes no sense to me.
He's a bit Corto Starish, isn't he? He's got so much pace, but his class just got him through that Gold Cup trip. He wasn't an out-and-out stayer Corto Star. He was a flat-track Kempton Haydock kind of horse. And I think Galopin's the same. He could have that star factor, that could get him through it.
I just think he's a freak, an absolute freak of nature. And I think he'd win. I think he could win a champion chase. He could win a Ryanair, or he could win a Gold Cup.
He could.
King George.
Yeah.
With his mouth open.
Perfect. So that rounds up the Gold Cup. We'll move on to going right from the pinnacle now down to the Foxhunters. Sorry for anyone that likes the Foxhunters. I just can't be having it. Johnny, who'd you like in the Foxhunters?
Oh, cheers, mate. Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of either. It's just proper come down after the Gold Cup, isn't it? But you have to pick something, don't you, for the day? But the one I've sort of put down on my list here is it's on the line, so I might have a little go on him each way. He's won his last couple of races, beaten the same horse twice, Lord Schnitzel. He was behind that Ferns Lock earlier in the season. at Fairy House, who's they say he's not going to this, so that might be some sort of form. So I'd probably pick him, but if the Storyteller was declared, for old time's sake, I'd obviously have to have an each way bet on one of my favourite ever horses. So yeah, love the Storyteller. Whether he's got the ability after that injury anymore, I don't know. But if he did have, he'd be far better than any of these. But I'm not so sure he does anymore. So yeah, it's on the line each way. Will do for me in this.
You don't fancy one of your old favourites, Brain Power, then?
Not at all.
Brain Power.
That horse is dog shit. And then it won, didn't it, when I said that?
It did, yeah. Jamie, who do you like?
Oh, I think there's only one winner of this, but all depends if David Christie puts whoever in. I hope both of them run, because I back both of them. But I think if you had to choose and put, I think Wing Leader has to win this. I'm like, beat. There's form lines there because at a point he beat LeMailin, and then LeMailin was only barely beaten by Billy Way the last day at Nace. Burns Lock's not going to run. Wing Leader came out the last day in a point and won by 11 lengths, second run of the season. He's still 9-2, 5-1 in a place. Oh my God, what a bet each way at 5-1 that is. Can't see out of the first two even. But the only thing is that I don't think it might run, and they might just give it to Bartlett. I think the further it went against Dorking Cock, it barely got up against Dorking Cock there at Christmas at Down Royal. Bartlett, the further it went, the better it was. So to me, it's either or, Alex. But I really fancy Wing Leader. I think it should have won the race last year. Barry Neal got that race back again, and it would have won. So if it runs, I'm all over Wing Leader. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Scotty. Who do you like?
I'm with Jay. I think Wing Leader won't run. I've just looked. I think he's 15s on the exchanges. If he was going to run, he'd be shorter. I think Vasile is going to be their only runner. But I'd take him on. I'd just not been impressed by him this year. I think he only just wins. He does need further. Like I think the Gold Cup course and distance will suit him. But there's one horse in here which I've like John. It's not a massive strong fancy, but he's got a bit of back form. I mean, it's back form. That's all it is. It's 2 years winning the Denman Chase. He beat Clandays at Bow, and that's Secret Investor. He's been going around his business a bit quietly this year. He's won a couple of egg and spoon races, so to speak. I just thought Paul Nicholls has obviously won the race before a couple of times with Pasha de Polder. He should have won it 3 times, but he didn't put me on the horse. He put Victoria Pendleton on there, didn't he? So, yeah, I just would say Secret Investor. Just from, I think he's got a bit of class, and there's some old favourites in here, isn't there? Like John said again, the Storyteller's a cliff horse of mine. He might turn up. Chris's Dream, I believe, is going to run, but I think he needs soft ground. But yeah, Secret Investor, and I will be laying Vasile until the cows come home.
Ooh. Excellent, Ian. Is it going to be an ex-Henderson horse for you?
No. So I'm similar to what Jamie was saying. That Wing Leader, I think, gave me a heart attack last year. And that how he lost that against Billaway, I don't know. I was screaming in the centre while I was watching it, and I thought he had it hosed up, and then got beat on the line. It was terrible. But yeah, I'll probably go either. I think it's going to be Vasile that's going to run, and I think potentially he will win. But if it's the other way around, I would bet Wing Leader. Funny enough, Scott was just saying about Chris's Dream. I was just having a quick look, and obviously it's a horse in the past. Each way, you could go dirty each way at 8-1. Obviously, he's got experience in a Gold Cup. I think when Album Photo won the Gold Cup, and in a Ryanair. So he's running Class 1 races. Won his last 2 points. I won't try and pronounce where they are because I'll probably get it totally wrong. But yeah, I thought that was quite an interesting run. So one of the old faces, Chris's Dream. But yeah, I'll go Vasile to win.
I've got a friend / Facebook friend, and we chat nearly every day. And I'm not going to say his name and who he owns, but he's really reliable with some of the stuff he says. And he's good friends with the owners of Chris's Dream, and they have been saying if it comes with a lot of rain, he won't be beat. So if it rains, back him.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Was he still owned by the Rapcore?
I believe he is. Yeah.
Is it on the at the race's website? It's still in the colours.
Yeah.
I better take the Rapcore scarf then.
Oh, if it's soft heavy, it has a right chance. All right,
yeah,
I'm backlash.
I'll bear that one in mind.
I really have no interest in this race, but if you force me to have a bet, I'd probably have a go each way on Wing Leader, just because he should have won last year, and he was only 8 then. He's 9 now. He's not too old for this race. It's not a very, very much a confident bet. It's just like that's what I'd have a go at. And Matty said he has absolutely no interest, so he's in the same camp as me. Right, we'll move on then to the second last race of the festival, which is the Mares' Chase. 2 very short-priced horses at the top of the market, Allegory Devassi and Impervious, both novices. In fact, the third favourite in the race is also a novice. So this is pretty much a Mares' novice chase, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Jamie, who do you like?
Toss of a coin, really, Alex. I'm on both of them on fancy good prices all year, Allegory and Impervious. I suppose if you want to take a horse that is, I suppose, a very good jumper and attacks its fences very well and jumps straight, you should be all over Impervious. If you want to take a chance and the massive ability that Allegory Devassi has, then you should go with that, because I think it's way better than Impervious, but I just don't trust her for some reason. I'm starting not to trust her. And but like, she could round around now. She win by 20 lengths. If she stands up, she wins. As simple as that. But I would go safe when it comes to these races, especially Mares races. I think Impervious might just sneak it out of the bag, and I would go with Impervious. But the rest, I suppose, if you want to go over the snaky one, if things back to her some bit of herself after she have surgery in her back, I don't know, Riviere de Tell, it'd be a little each way, 14-1 poke, and if she's back to her best, you'd have to give her a chance if she doesn't jump an armly right like she did last year at the end of the Arca. But Allegory or Impervious, one or the other, Alex, to be honest with you.
Okay. I'm on that angle as well. I like Riviere de Tell. She's got some very nice form from her novice season over fences. I mean, she had a second to Fernie Hollow, a second to Blue Lord. I thought she ran quite well for a long way in the Arkle, and then seemed to tire at the end. I think she just did too much out front too soon. That back procedure that she had, they haven't really called it an operation. They just called it a procedure. So
yeah,
whatever they've done to her back, hopefully that's brought her back to her best. And I'll take a chance that. I mean, I think at her best form over fences, she should be bang there. So if she can get somewhere near that, then I mean, I think she's an absolute stink in each way. Johnny, who do you like?
Yeah, I'd happen to agree with both of you there, to be honest. I mean, I put up Riviere de Tell for a handicap, didn't I, as well? So wherever she did turn up, I'd definitely be interested in an each way play on her. Because on a day, she's a really good horse and she could have a good chance in this. But yeah, I mean, same as Jamie, really. It's between those two, but I'm going to swing the other way and go for Allegory Devassi. I just think that she is the classiest and she could be anything, but obviously there is a slight sort of niggle with the jumping. I don't think it's as bad as what some people make out, to be honest. Some people are making out that she's jumped over the rail into the centre of the course, but she edges right a little bit, but I don't think it was that bad. I mean, it was probably Paul Town's fault when he nearly unseated, wasn't it? Because they reckon he wasn't sort of sat correctly at the time.
Ruby blamed him, didn't he, on a racing on the racing program, Road to Cheltenham on Racing TV. He blamed Townend for that.
Yeah, so you've got to look at that, really. I mean, she got the blame for it at the time, and everyone was going mad about it. But I really don't think it was that bad. Obviously, this is a trickier jumping test here, and like Jamie says, if she stays on her feet, she probably could win by 20 lengths. So, yeah, I'm gonna stick with her. I think she's got a really good chance as long as she stays up.
Thank you, Johnny. Scotty.
Yeah, like Jamie said, I haven't got a strong opinion on who's going to win. I think it's very much like the John Bon El Fabiolo matchup. You're taking a chance on El Fabiolo and Allegory Devassi. If they both jump, they'll win both races, in my opinion. But if you want the safer option, you back Impervious because you know she's going to jump, probably better. That's the most likely outcome. But I'll look for an each way angle. I like Jeremy's Flame. I've liked her all season. Beat Zambella the last day at Huntington pretty well. I think she's a decent price at 13-2 to hit the frame. I did it a few years ago with Shattered Love, nicked a bit of place money. And again, like I said, it's not always about finding the winner. I've said it on previous shows. I've been on with you boys. If I had a match bet of Magic Days against Riviere de Tel offered to me, I would take Magic Days all day. Riviere de Tel is absolute garbage. I'm sorry. I hate to say it. She can't jump. She can't jump. She just doesn't want to jump. If she jumps alongside Allegoria de Vassi, they will both murder each other. I'm sorry. It's setting up this race for I never want to see it. It's setting up this race with both of them in it for a disaster. Hold up horse, something behind them. Jeremy's Flame. That's the one I'm just going to have a small play on. But Magic Days in a match bet against Riviere de Tel, lock and load.
Excellent.
Lock and load.
Ian.
I'm going to go with Johnny, and I'm going to stay with Allegoria de Vassi. I know she's a nut. Scary. I've put scary jumping in my notes, but she has been impressive in her 2 wins. I think she won the Dawn Run Mares Chase, beating Melina Gill 19 lengths. And we talked about the unseat. I thought we had the first at Furless that time. So obviously she does need to settle, but I think when she does settle, she's going to be something else. So she would be my one to win. I think it was on Ginger Joe's. I did tip Zambella up each way, but I'm not so confident now, obviously, because of what Scotty was saying about Jeremy's Flame, where Zambella was on a good run, I think about 2 or 3 wins, and then Jeremy's Flame beat her. I think it was about 6.5 lengths, I think, previous one.
Yeah.
So that's slightly put me off a bit. I'm not quite sure of an each way angle. I want to say Ellie May, but I think she's been quite poor this season since her win when she won this last year. But there's not really much else other than part of the top 2 and the top 3. I don't think there's much else in the race, but I'll go with Allegoria de Vassi.
Thank you, Ian. So that rounds up the Mares Chase then, I believe, unless I missed anyone.
No,
all good. Perfect. Matty messaged to say he's got no fancy in this, so that's 2 races in a row that he's bottled. So
wouldn't be like him.
We'll move on then to the final race of the festival, which is of course the Martin Pipe Handicap, won by previously one of my favourite horses, Indefatigable, who was always winning that race, no matter what Jamie tells you.
Stop it.
Jamie, who do you fancy for it this year?
Well, I know during the week I put up my tie, but I know I'm very worried about the ground now, to be honest with you, Alex. I was judging on he needs good ground to get up the hill and all that crack. There's surely a race in this horse, like, you know, he travels like good. Even like if you look at Lorcan Murta the last day, hanging him across the track to hold Ante's handicap mark. That's just my opinion. He travels so well in these races. Please, finally, this horse might win. I suppose if you fancy 3-card Bragg with all collateral form, you'd have to give Imagine. I think if it stays kind of on the soft side, the soft to heavy, Imagine has to have a chance. I think Imagine will go off favourite now. The way the weather is, especially with the back form, like he's made in hurl win at Wexford, a horse called for the Mangans, Jane Mangans crowd. Spillane Tower came out and franked the form. Then Franciscan Rock then went on to win it Thurles the last day. So there's good black class. Second, of course, like he's definitely going off favourite. Hunter's Yarn is even first or second in the county hurdle. Yeah. So the only other horse in the back of my head, I don't know, like as you said there, Alex, taking the piss out of me about Connie Malfire. If Cool Survivor looks slow, right, looks slow to me, but for some reason or another, Gigginstown horses seem to love a fast pace in a Martin Pipe. The likes of Don Slowly and bloody like O'Leary came out and said Champagne Classic is the slowest horse of all time, and then instead of one day they went on to win a Grade 1 at Punchestown.
Blow by blow won this race, for God's sake.
Blow by blow, never won a race after that. Like,
blow by blow.
And
blow by slow.
And Connie McFleur would have won.
Yeah.
The only horse that I was actually going to back in the race that were going up in the car, myself and my father and one of the lads, and we were sick with all the effective stud horses were pulled out in the day, and I really fancied him for the 3 mile handicap. And it was 7th in the race last year. Has been dropped £2. Only beaten by 9 lengths.
It's
and
fine.
It's Au Florent.
Fine.
And I am going to back this horse if it runs. It's only beaten 9 lengths. Drop
Yeah.
£2. Work it out.
Yeah.
I think it definitely, if it like the bookies are going to give you first 5, and I can't see this horse being out of the first 5, and it's 40-1. My God, what a bet each way. As I said during the week there with the lads, you never see me again. If my horse wins the Martin Pipe at 66-1 off your Rocco, I will retire in the sunset with my cigar and my top hat and be in bar fucking Vegas for the rest of my life watching cricket or something like that. If my horse wins, to be honest, I don't think the ground's totally gone against them now. We really kind of sneakily fancy me if the ground was fast, but obviously it won't be that way. So I give him no chance if he did. But if you put it at the moment, I'd love to see Might I win. Imagine they'll probably go off favourite, but definitely first 5 places might get 6 maybe in some stupid bookie. Au Florent each way at 40-1 has to be a bet.
Excellent. Very
Well,
confident
that's
one there. My selection will be Safura. I think that's how you pronounce it. Another one of Gordon Elliott's. He actually said a couple of days before his 4th run over hurdles that this is where his plan is to go. He then won. I mean, he's off 137, and I think he's miles better than that. He is entered in about 15 different races though, so remains to be seen where he'll run. But I think this is where he's going to go, considering that's what Gordon said. But who knows? Scotty, who do you fancy?
I haven't got a massive strong opinion on the race. I mean, it's hard again without seeing the final decks just yet. But one I came down on looking at the ground, all of these good performances are on heavy or soft to heavy. It'll be his first run in a handicap hurdle for a year if he runs. He ran in the Christmas hurdle, this just gone, smashed by Constitution Hill. He won the November handicap at Doncaster, a flat race, raced again on the flat. He's won a grade 1 over hurdles, and that is Metier for Harry Fry. I just thought he was a bit of a sleeper. He's going to be racing off 143. He got dropped £1 for running in that Christmas hurdle. I just thought he was interesting, you know. I think he jumps very well. I think the fast run race, 2.5 miles, will suit him. And I'm hoping that the rain will be around for Friday for him. So he'd be one I'd be interested in. My old mate Felix Deji, he's in there as well, but he's going to be carrying 11-12. I just probably have a couple of quid on him for old time's sake. He owes me one. But I haven't got a massive strong opinion. It's probably the only race I don't have a big opinion on. But Metier at 28s on the machine was something I just thought was worth a couple of quid.
Excellent. Johnny?
Yeah, the saddest race of the festival because you've got to wait another year for it all over again. So, yeah.
You're not sad if you get the winner, though.
Well, yeah. It's good if you can finish off with a winner. Imagine I've already backed him early on, 20-1, so I'm quite happy with that. He's got a string of seconds behind his name, so I think he's quite well handicapped and he should go well. It looks a bit of a plot job to me, that one. But then the one that I'm more strong on is what Jamie said is Au Florent. I think he's got an absolutely belting chance. I think he will get in because there's a lot of horses, again, double entered, isn't there? So I fancy a few to come out there. Like Jamie said as well, he finished 7th last year. I think Sky actually paid 7 places last year because I remember getting paid on him. So
there you go.
Yeah, keep an eye out for them. But he was 40-1 last year, but he ain't going to be that this year, I don't think. I think he's absolutely huge price, and I think he's 20s at the moment, is he? So I think that's a good price.
I think you get 40s, John, still at Lebrough.
Are they?
I think they're 40s, yeah.
Oh, well, I might do that before the entries tomorrow because it's non-runner, no bet.
Non-runner,
so,
yeah.
I'll do that. After
Might not be non-runner, but no bet, no 40-1. What I'm looking at here on my phone, it's probably not non-runner, bet 40-1.
Right,
so you'd be taking a chance, obviously, but he's surely get in and he'll surely run.
Yeah. The other one that I'd be interested in is one I put up on Trials Day was Hacker Day Plus. If he turns up here, I think he's
out for the season, Johnny.
He's out.
Is he?
Yeah, he can. Yeah.
Oh, must have missed that. So, scrub that one. It'd be Au Florent all day as long as he gets in.
Thank you, Johnny. Ian, the last pick.
The
2023 preview. No pressure.
So like the guys, I have had a bet on Imagine for Elliot. I think I took about 10-1. So Johnny was saying about the seconds. I think he's been second behind Hercule du Sul and is it in the other way you're thinking and Hunter's Yarn? So you could say obviously he's been placing and I'm trying to think what his mark is. I've got here 139, so about 11.6. And there's the other one I looked at, again, similar sort of prices, what Jamie said, which was called Survivor for Gigginstown. Horses we spoke about already, Hidden Valley Lake, he was second behind. And obviously Goodland, he was fourth behind Goodland. Must have been at the Dublin Racing Festival with Brian Cooper on board. So they'll probably be the two I'll look at. So maybe call Survivor on the day. Other than that, I'll probably need to study a bit more to see if there's anything else. But I think I'll have a few quid on that Al Fleuron, I think, after you guys are just quite happy with him. But yeah, it's probably something I need to study a bit more, Alex.
Excellent. And Matty's message through to say that he's jumping on the bandwagon with Safira as well as me. So he's not bottled the last race. Okay, so just to round things off, what I'll do is just get a best bet from each of you for day 4. Ian, who's your best bet?
Oh, I will go with Hidden Valley Lake.
Excellent. Johnny?
I'm going to go with Al Fleuron, and he is actually 33-1 non-runner no bet with Ladbrokes and Coral. So I'm going to be having a bit more on that.
Scotty?
Can I be really cheeky and give a 1-win selection and an each way lucky 15? Because I've really got. Is that okay?
Oh, go on then.
Blood Destiny win, each way lucky 15, Comfort Zone in the Triumph, Seabank Bistro in the Albert Bartlett, Gold Cup Conflated, and Pembroke in the County.
Excellent. Jamie?
3-card break for me in the Albert Bartlett.
And for me, it will be Galopan des Champs to bring home the Gold Cup. Okay, so that closes day 4 of the Cheltenham Festival. Thank you very much to Jamie and to Scotty for joining us. It's been a pleasure again to have you on the channel, regular contributors now. Thanks again also to everybody else that's contributed to these previews. Thanks again to everybody that's watched these previews and, of course, to our guests. We'll be back after the festival with some more content, so we'll be looking to do some review shows. I'm sure we'll do a preview also for Punchestown and also for Aintree. Best of luck with your bets. Smash those bookies, and thank you very much, and goodbye.